In other studies, I propose that there are 6 important sevens to be considered in the book of Revelation. There are the 7 churches and angels, the 7 prophecies and 7 sealed book, and the 7 trumpets and bowls. 7 times 6 is 42, corresponding to Revelation 11:2 and 13:5, where 40 typifies a time of trial, and 2, the process of separation and witness of the dynamic power of the living and active Word of God. It is important to realize that even such things as tribulation, distress, persecution, and even death are as much a witness of the prophetic word as the peace and prosperity we may presently enjoy. 7 means spiritual completeness, denoting the fullness of whatever it's attached to, best illustrated by the complete cycle of a seed to its ripened fruit, where the 8th step is harvest, or a new beginning. In the 7 churches, spirits, and so on, we see the 7-fold or progressive essence of each component, culminating in the completion or manifestation of God's purpose through Christ. I don't believe the book of Revelation is chronological. However, 7s are, for each of the 7 components in each 7 builds on the one before it. But it's also important to consider the pattern of 4, 2, and 1 in each of the 7s. This pattern was established during the 6 days of creation in the book of Genesis. 4 denotes a foundation, so the first 4 days of creation reveal the establishment of this foundation for the living creatures that came on the 5th and 6th days. The 7th day is the Sabbath or day of rest, emphasizing that the foundation God established is all that is needed to fulfill the declarations of the 5th and 6th days. This pattern remains true when we enter the book of Revelation, where the first 4 spirits of the 7 spirits of God are foundational. So also the first 4 churches, prophecies, seals, trumpets, and bowls. Just as the foundation becomes the structure on which the rest of the house is built, the same is true for the 5th and 6th components. The 7th defines the fulfillment or end of the sowing and reaping cycle of each particular component and the regeneration of the same. Like a cake with 7 layers, that is but one cake, so the same rings true for each of the 6 important 7s. There is but one Spirit of God, but it is 7-fold in essence. There is but one church, but again, 7-fold in essence. There is one prophecy, 7-fold in essence and purpose, because it flows from the one voice of Christ. There are 7 seals, but one scroll or book. And finally, we have 7 trumpets and bowls, representing the progressive and 7-fold fulfillment of the prophecy to the church. Once we understand the pattern of 4, 2, and 1, as well as the spiritual implications of the number 7, we can make sense of the following. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. Note the presence of lightning, thundering, and voices at the throne of God. When we bring this to the 7th seal, trumpet, and bowl, we find the same 3 elements. However, in the 7th seal, trumpet, and bowl, an earthquake is added, while in the 7th trumpet and bowl, great hail is also seen. Here's my take. The throne of God is the source of the lightning, thunder, and voices, while the 7th seal reveals their purpose, symbolized by the earthquake. The 7th trumpet and bowl are the manifestation of the earthquake and great hail resulting from the lightning, thunder, and voices. When we consider the 7th trumpet and bowl, we have 5 components. 5 is the number of sin and grace, evil and good, darkness and light, contrasting man's works or deeds with that of his maker. First, that which is natural, followed by that which is spiritual. The sounding of the trumpets and the pouring out of the bowls speak of the actual coming to pass of the prophetic words of Christ to the 7 churches, again resulting in an earthquake and great hail. The earthquake is explained by the following in Hebrews. See that you do not refuse him who is speaking, for if they did not escape when they refused him who warned them on earth, much less will we escape if we reject him who warns from heaven. At that time, his voice shook the earth, but now he has promised, yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heavens. This phrase, yet once more, indicates the removal of things that are shaken. That is, things that have been made, in order that the things that cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore, let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. Thus, let us offer to God acceptable worship with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. I don't believe these passages take much explanation. What is the earthquake in the 7th seal, trumpet, and bowl? It represents the shaking of the earth and the heavens, in other words, tribulation. And the great hail, this is explained by the words of Christ. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. Great hail, representing the coldness of heart, resulting from the shaking of the earth and heavens by the manifold voice of the Lord and his chosen. This gives us understanding in the following. I saw still another mighty angel coming down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was on his head. His face was like the sun, and his feet like pillars of fire. He had a little book open in his hand, and he set his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land, and cried with a loud voice as when a lion roars. When he cried out, 7 thunders uttered their voices. Now when the 7 thunders uttered their voices, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, seal up the things which the 7 thunders uttered, and do not write them. Based on what we read in Revelation 10, the voices are the 7 thunders or thundering. Think of a football game or a music concert and the roar of a crowd. Like our other 7s, the 7 thunders are one in essence, defining the one voice of Christ, which is like a trumpet. It is a unified voice, declaring the perfect will of God on earth, and the purpose of this voice is found in the 5th seal. When he opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God, for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? They, many, cried with a singular, loud voice, judge and avenge our blood. This, my friend, is the purpose of the lightning, thunder, and voices, righteous judgment. Viewing the 7th of anything is like reading the last chapter of a story first and seeing the end from the beginning. This aligns with the following. Remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is no other. I am God and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. How does God declare the end from the beginning? By means of prophecy. So it is that the book of Revelation is a book of prophecy. But here's where we must be careful in considering its content. John recorded his visions almost 2,000 years ago. So what remained in John's future can now be part of our past. This is what I believe. This does not mean it doesn't exist in the present. This too is the nature of prophecy and the spiritual meaning of the 7s in Revelation. What began in John's time has led to and continues to unfold even up to this present moment. That's it for this study. But be sure to join me in the next as we begin our examination of the 4 horsemen. Thank you for being a part of Grain of Wheat Publishing. May God bless you in your walk with Him.